Next up, we have the head of Sports Association, who is also the coordinator of Fitness, Athletics, and Recreation here at Columbia, Mark Bertizevich. Hi, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So why did you create the Sports Association?
Actually, I didn't create it. The students did.
Okay.
From day one, athletics on campus was student-driven. So there were a variety of students that came and said, look, we're missing the richness of having sports on campus. And so it was a handful of students that got together and said, we would like to, through SOC, or the Student Organizational Council, we'd like to start putting together some sports teams to go along with the rest of the organizations. And it started out relatively small. There was about a dozen or so SOC teams at the time, but really only about 4 or 5 that really functioned. The rest were just kind of a name only. And then it's grown since then. Our original board was, I think, back in 2005, thereabouts. And they were really the crux of why we have it. They said, you know, sports brings so much to a student's life. Sports is all about learning all the life lessons you can, because within sports you learn about how to put yourself out there, how to give a personal excellence, but yet how to utilize teamwork and how all that functions. You learn about life lessons, both the good and the bad. And so it's a great component to add to a student's life here. And then it also helps, back then we really didn't have any kind of community to speak of. There was a bunch of little silos. So if you were film, you were film. If you were theater, you were theater. But nothing really brought us together. And so the idea of having sports or having a moniker that would somehow unite everybody came along, and that was supposed to kind of add on to what we were doing with Manifest and other things to start building more community. And that's how it started.
That's great. So what sports are included?
Right now we have some unique ones. I mean, we have standard ones like basketball, we have a soccer team, we have volleyball, we have 2 dance teams. One's a hip-hop dance team, one's more of a modern mixture. And then we have some unusual teams. We have esports, which is all about, you know, being your best on the computer and trying to kick somebody's butt in a computer game. We have Galahad, which is all about medieval combat, and it's a very grueling sport. I was really shocked. In fact, the first time we merged the quote-unquote athletes from the traditional sports with the kids from Galahad, our athletes were doing some Galahad work. After about 10 minutes, the quote-unquote athletes were dying. They were huffing and puffing, and here are the Galahad kids who smoke and drink and do all the other kind of stuff. They were in just great shape, having a good time, and they went on for hours. And it's like, my goodness, this is amazing. And then we have Quidditch. You think of Quidditch in Harry Potter, you don't think it's that active or that rough. We sponsored a tournament 2 years ago. It is grueling. It makes no difference, man, woman, in between. They hit hard. It's a combination of football and lacrosse and soccer all combined together.
Wow.
I've never seen so many concussion protocols in one time slot. But it's a fun sport, and the cool thing about it is it too brings community. Quidditch and Galahad especially bring great communities because they not only have the community here at the school, but then they exist within larger communities, not only in the Midwest but throughout the country. And so that's a great deal, especially when you're in industries where you have to network. And then we have brand new, we have the Outdoor Collective, which we're going to be doing hikes and campouts and trying to get the city kids out in nature where they can enjoy a little bit. We're also going to have marching band.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's the new one that's on the docket. We now have a board, and we're trying to look at funding and get together an advisor, because our dream is, you know, instead of having to hire somebody to come and do Manifest and do openings for a variety of events, have our own marching band, and not a typical marching band, but one that has kind of like the unique Columbia flair. So we're not typical marching band, but we do something with a little funk, maybe a little jazz, a little mix it up.
Very cool. So how can someone join these teams? Can anyone join?
Anyone can join. Our teams are all non-gendered, so we don't have a men's team and a women's team.
Okay.
Anyone can join any team. All you have to have is a desire to be part of something. and compete. We post both on Facebook and on posters all over the place when are our interest meetings for the different teams. We have the Columbia website, so if you go to student organizations and you look under athletics, you'll see all of our teams that are there with their contact information. If you want a team that doesn't exist, we're looking for new teams. All you have to do is get 10 interested people and somebody who's willing to step up and be a leader, or preferably leadership, so there's 4 or 5 people stepping up, and we'll develop a team. We'll help you from ground zero all the way up to building the team itself.
Wow. So do you have a lot of people in all these sports right now, or about how many people are involved?
Altogether, we're a little bit over 200 people.
Wow, very cool.
And we're growing. I'm hoping that with the collective and marching band, that eventually we get to be 300-400 strong.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for being here today. Very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Next, stay tuned for our team that we have